All right, everyone. We're just going to give everyone just a couple more seconds to join. We'll get all the late stragglers in.
Awesome.
All right, looking like we have a good amount of people in. I say we get started.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining. My name is Zach Kalosh, Lead Generation Manager here over at Atlantic. And today we will be going over AI-powered manufacturing, unlocking efficiency with Cloud ERP. Just a few things to get started. We have a 45-minute presentation with a Q&A at the end. If you have any questions throughout the entire presentation, feel free to use the questions box over in the webinar platform. And we will send the recording and a copy of the deck shortly after the event. Just for a quick agenda, we're going to do a quick intro to get into the current state of manufacturing finance, then how AI and Cloud ERP can help with that, in addition to a live demo, and then the audience Q&A at the end. Real quick for anyone who is new here, we are Atlantic's business application division. We have been doing consulting for the past 30 years, focusing on people, process, and technology, specifically in the Cloud ERP, CRM, AI, and data solution space. Our other divisions include managed IT, cybersecurity, managed print, and at the bottom are a few of our key technology partners. With me today, we have two of the finest men in Cloud ERP. We have Frank Puccio and Tony Jukes.
Hi.
Hello.
All right, and with that, Frank, I'm going to pass it over to you for the state of manufacturing.
All right. Thanks, Zach. Yeah, thanks everybody for joining. So today, the state of manufacturing, a lot of companies are on their legacy systems, and they may be stable, they may be working. Systems like QuickBooks, if you consider that an ERP, more like accounting software, but they may be on Sage or another system, and they work, but as technology rapidly advances, especially with things like AI, your competitors are moving to cloud offerings with more modern functionality, and as decisions get made in real time, you're not able to keep up. So your old systems are going to be holding you back. It's going to be a disadvantage against your competitors. There's statistics out there that say 80% of the data that manufacturers collect is currently unable to be used. It's inaccessible. And 70% of manufacturers themselves still collect data manually. So whether that's pen and paper, could be in spreadsheets, but their systems aren't able to collect the data they need to understand things like how much does it cost to make this item, what is my margin on this process, how much labor goes into XYZ step in my routing. And right now, CFOs are kind of the strategic leaders of the companies, driving both the financial and operational outcomes. Artifact from a previous slide. So for kind of what we're talking about today, modern manufacturing, AI, it's not all smoke and mirrors anymore. It's not all experimental. 80% of manufacturers have invested time or money into AI systems. Now that stat could mean a number of things, but the point is that AI is here and it's not going anywhere. It's going to be kind of like when the internet came out. You either are going to adopt it, or you're going to be looking back and thinking, I should have done that. 44% of organizations claim that their data that they've collected has doubled in volume in the last 5 years. So, that growth of that is pretty tremendous. I think they said, I heard a stat somewhere that in like the last year, there's been more data created than the first 1,000 or 2,000 years of human history, something wild like that. But in order to use things like AI and business intelligence systems, your data has to be stable. It's got to be clean. It's got to be orderly. And without that, that's sort of the foundation that you're building your house on. You can't add the layers on top of it. If you're building your house on popsicle sticks on a beach, it's just going to collapse, or it's going to just give you bad data. So that's going to be a major theme during what we talk about today, because clean data is going to be able to provide business breakthroughs. If you add something like a co-pilot, like agent or chat bot, you'll be able to feed it your data and ask it things like, what was my average production time on XYZ product, or compare my top 3 selling items, what are my best margins? So instead of having to go in and build reports, maybe in Crystal or even a modern report writer, being able to just type a question to a chatbot and have it kind of instantly in the background run those reports and just spit out an answer. That's sort of where we're at with AI now. So it's just kind of getting started, but in a year from now, I think a lot of folks are going to be able to just interact with their personal AI assistant. Some other use cases, you could kind of connect all of your equipment in your factory to like an LLM, large language model, or a machine learning, and have it look at your historical like maintenance issues and start to predict when systems need to be replaced or worked on.
Yeah, Frank, I think you're right there on that kind of the clean data. And Frank and I have found this over the years as well. If you think of what things like ChatGPT and all the others do at the moment, they're looking outwards. They're looking onto the internet. So AI in manufacturing is all about your data and looking inwards, and that's the trick. So if you don't have clean data, AI will make an intelligent guess on bad data and give you a bad answer. So what Frank and I do a lot of the time is concentrate on getting that data clean and accurate and also timely as well. And this also comes into play if you move systems to systems as well. So Frank was talking about QuickBooks and whatever.
Right.
You won't get manufacturing data on that because it doesn't do it. And a lot of older legacy vendors with their ERP systems, it's not there. Or it's, as Frank says, it's collected on spreadsheets or on bits of paper with guys writing it down or girls writing it down. And when you run those AI algorithms, as Frank's saying, give me this or give me that, it needs that data underneath to give you some good information. So what it's doing in effect is taking a lot of the hassle out of, say, producing reports or producing graphs or dashboards and whatever. All those things you want it to just tell you, that's what it's going to do for you. But if you don't have that data, it's not going to be able to help you at all. So there's a lot of myths around AI that it's just going to do everything for you. It's not unless you put the effort in as well. That's the key to this. And putting those key bits in, like costings and quantities, those are the things that it's going to drive you. So if you say, like Frank said, give me the best top 3 products sold over the last 3 months in these states, unless you have that recorded, it's not going to help. So, you know, that's the key, and that's some of the things we're going to show you later on in this webinar. Frank. Okay, great. So I think this is kind of going back on what I was saying, just that most companies have an ERP system, but because of the way it's running, it's not running effectively for that company. Okay, so you may have, say, a field service that's not connected to your manufacturing, or construction that's not connected to your manufacturing, or you may have a manufacturing system but it's got no costing in there. So that's all the things we need to address as well. And also, if you've got more than one company running, you really want to pull all of that data together, and that's one of the keys to this as well, making that data available. And on old systems where you had a server on the desk or in the basement or somewhere, you can't get at it in the same ways. And the key to a lot of this also is, like on that third bullet point, the inventory, the bills of material, the MRPs, the planning. These are the things that are going to give you a competitive advantage. Because what you'll find is that a lot of your competitors are going down this route, and they will have a jump on you going forward as well. So if somebody says, well, they ring up for a product, or you want to make a product and you want a quick response to say, yep, we can make it in 2 weeks, or we can make it in 3 weeks when all the bits and pieces come in. That's what you want, okay? And even if you get things like delays in your supply chain, you want to know instantly, because you don't want to let your customers down. And I think the production costs is kind of one close to my heart as well. I have a lot of people that say we're selling loads of products, we're shipping all the while, and we've got a great turnover. We're making $100 million, or we're turning over $100 million, and we think we're making 10, but they don't really know, because what's not being collected is those hidden costs, like some labor costs or some tooling costs or some shipping costs, where they think they're making 10 million and really they're only making like 6 or 7. And it's those things that are really difficult to get to. Okay. The bottom one as well, there's a good friend of mine who's sadly not with us anymore, spent 30 odd years in manufacturing and did a lot of demonstrations, did a lot of implementations, talked to a lot of people. And what he said was, there is no magic button. You've still got to put the effort in. So if you don't know how to capture that data and feed that data in, there is no magic button that will do it. Okay, that is the key. You have to put the effort in. If you put the effort in, you get all the benefits of AI on top of it as well. Okay. Got the next slide? Okay. Frank, do you want to say a couple of words on this? Then
Absolutely. So some of the benefits of being on a cloud ERP system like Acumatica. So Acumatica is really, it's an all-in-one. So finance is going to be the backbone, but there are modules for all sorts of different operational use cases. There's vertical additions for distribution, manufacturing, construction, field service, project accounting, and CRM. So what I want to point out, though, is there's a lot of systems that have all of these things, but they may be kind of bolted on. They're not truly one system with one database, with one user interface, like look and feel. But Acumatica, every screen is going to operate in the same way. It all looks and feels the same because it is one system. So your financial and your manufacturing data is all in one place. So you're not pushing data from one database to another and having to deal with integrations and things like that. So that really allows you to get really robust reporting and be able to build dashboards for any sort of metric or thing you want to track. One of the really great things about Acumatica is its open architecture. So you're able to, there's hundreds of different marketplace integrations, but even if there is a system that you have that isn't a marketplace integration or a marketplace partner, there's a multitude of different ways we can set up so that data can flow back and forth, from the really, really simple like CSV like uploads to building a custom integration that is going to allow you to instantly push, or on a schedule push, data back and forth. The reporting, so if you're on a legacy system, you're probably used to static reports. You probably have to do like print to PDF to view them. You're not able to really drill into your data at all, or kind of cut it up and slice and dice it the way you want to report on things. But in Acumatica, you're able to use the drill down features to go from a high level report all the way down to like a transactional line to see, hey, where did this number come from? And then for the slicing and dicing and showing your data the way you want to see it, Acumatica uses things called sub accounts, and you're able to configure these sub accounts to give you the types of granularity you want to see, whether it's looking at 2 different business lines, all the way to anything you can really think of. If you want to report on it, we can build you a configuration with sub accounts to be able to do that. Acumatica is built for multi-company, multi-branch, multi-currency, and intercompany accounting. So for the multi-company and multi-branch, that's out of the box. That doesn't cost anything extra. So if you have more than one legal entity, you can just set them up in the tenant and work right from one instance. If you want to have the companies do intertrade, there's an add-on module for that that automates the intercompany eliminations and really makes that a breeze. And what's great is you can consolidate your reporting up to the top level. So if you are the owner of all 3 of these companies and you want to see your P&L across the board, it's pretty easy to do that. The biggest differentiator, though, and the reason why Acumatica is becoming kind of the behemoth it is the unlimited user and company licensing model. So you may be familiar, your system probably has either named user licenses or concurrent licenses. So named user is if Tony needs a license and I need a license, we have to have 2. And concurrent would be if we both need licenses, but he works the morning shift and I work the afternoon, we would only need 1. So you can only have 1 person in at a time. Acumatica does away with that, though, because they don't bill based on users. So everybody in the company, even external people, can be given licenses with restricted permissions. So you can prevent them from seeing things you don't want to. But if you want people on the floor to be entering their labor time or looking at the bill of materials, they can all have their own licenses. The CFO has a license, even like anybody can have one. So that is a really unique thing, because if you think about the named user licensing model, the cost can really get away from you. Maybe it's $2,000, $2,500 for a user. It kind of limits your ability to grow. And then the last thing is you have the option whether you want to do the SaaS model where Acumatica hosts your instance in their cloud, or if you want to host it yourself, you can do it in a private cloud, and it costs the same amount of money. So some of the use cases and kind of micro verticals that are really good with the manufacturing edition of Acumatica, fabricated metal products. So you can manage your machine setup and you can track your scrap right in the system. All of that is out of the box. Medical devices, we got the ability to track compliance. We've got engineering revisions. You can have approvals for that. Some of the other ones, electronics, electrical products, food and beverage, and home goods and furnishing. So, like I mentioned earlier, Acumatica's got a bunch of marketplace partners. So if you look on screen and see any of the logos and recognize them, if you use them, these are really straightforward to set up, and you can have the data in push between the systems. So you can report on things like if you have an external CRM, being able to calculate the cost of customer acquisition or the total lifetime value of a customer from the first time they click on your website through years and years of buying your product. Being able to really put a number on that is just one kind of example of what you can do with these integrations. All right, and the customer bill of rights. So this is another very unique thing for Acumatica. They have the customer bill of rights, which are their promises and their guarantees to the customer of like what their experience and interaction with Acumatica and their product will be. So you can compare this to some other vendors who don't have something like this, and then look at like software reviews online, and you can see why Acumatica's reviews are so positive, because they promise things like number 2, unlimited user access, which we talked about. Number 4, transparent, fair pricing and agreements without long-term commitments. And that last piece is the important part. Some of the competitors will try to lock you into a 7-year contract. And that's a big commitment. Acumatica only does 1-year deals. And the reason is they want to keep earning your business. So they don't need to hold you hostage at negotiation time. And then number 8 is another big one that is a big differentiator with some competitors. With Acumatica, you own your data, you can access it, and you can export it, download it in usable formats at all times. There's some other software systems, you try to get your data out of it and it'll come out in like binary gibberish. There's nothing you can do with it. Or it's just like a huge data dump in one CSV file, and trying to parse that and put it into something that you can use is nearly impossible. So I'm not going to read them all off, but you can kind of see the philosophy that Acumatica operates with their customer first.
Okay.
So AI capabilities, these aren't necessarily specific to manufacturing, but some of what Acumatica is doing with AI, and again, this is pretty early adoption. We've got things like anomaly detection, which is going to look through your transactions and flag things that just don't look right. So maybe it's somebody posted to a period in the past, like 5 years ago, or they entered a AP bill that every other time it's come from this vendor, it's been $1,000. This time it's 10 grand. It's going to flag that and say, hey, maybe there was a mistake here. We've got AI demand forecasting, so using AI and machine learning to look at your trends and help predict what your demand's going to look like. I think one of the most solid use cases, though, at this early stage is the AI assistance. So this is kind of what we talked about earlier, where you can ask a question and it's going to be like restrained to your data. So asking a question about something that you normally would need to build a report for example, it's going to really speed things up. You can ask it also to do things for you, like create an automation where any order over $50,000, we want to send them a thank you note. And you can just type that in instead of having to go in the back, like and configure and build a workflow for that. But again, Acumatica is trying to be very methodical and purposeful about what they add AI to, and they don't want to just add AI for the sake of adding it. It really needs to be product focused and something that's going to be useful for the end client. One of the things that came out in the latest release was the ability to link Acumatica to your LLM subscription. So if you had ChatGPT subscription, not the standard chat, but like the API version, you can link it to that, and that's what's going to power the ability to use like the assistant. So, and ask about your data. So all of these things are great. There's definitely more coming, but as we mentioned earlier, if your data is not where it needs to be, you're not going to be able to take advantage of any of this. An example I would use is if you gave ChatGPT and you uploaded a research paper and you ask questions about the research paper, you'd hope that it'd be able to answer the questions based on factual information it found in that file. Whereas if your data is bad, it's like taking a stack of papers off your desk and then asking the same questions. It's not going to know what you're talking about. It's not going to have the underlying foundation to even attempt to answer the questions. It's just going to spit out garbage.
Okay.
So one of our customers that is on Acumatica Manufacturing, they are a thermal instrument manufacturer in the aerospace industry. They also, their components go into things like medical devices as well. About 70 million in annual revenue, good number of employees. They were on Sage 100. Some of the problems that they were having there was they had no visibility into inventory replenishment. They didn't know what it cost to make their components. Their forecasting was impossible, and the only way they could calculate the materials was like after the fact. So they were always lagging behind in every sort of metric that you could calculate. So now that they're on Acumatica, we configured all of the workflows into the system, and they are able to have automatic replenishment or get flagged on when things need to be ordered. They know what their costs of production are. They're able to track labor to specific pieces that are made, and it's all due to the fact that Acumatica has this capability and it was configured correctly, and they were able to kind of morph some of their processes that were only done a certain way because of the limitations of their system to be able to say, oh, now that we have a new system, let's kind of streamline our processes and align them so that we're getting the full capabilities of the system.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, guys. Tony, let me pass it over to you for the demo. And we already have some questions rolling in. This is great.
Okay. Do you want to flip the presentation to me then, Zach?
Yep, doing it right now.
All right, hang on. My screen. Now, you see it?
That looks good to me.
Yes.
Well, that's the difficult part of the webinar, sorting out, which is good news. So what I'm going to spend like 10 minutes or so is just kind of showing you what Acumatica looks like, which you may have seen before, but also some of the underlying things that's going to drive the data to drive your AI, like Frank was talking about. like that AI assistant where you just type it in and it tells you. So what that's almost giving you is like a super user, which you can just shout to down the hall, give me the top 10 products from last month, or give me all the variances, or give me all of this. Now, in effect, a lot of these systems like Acumatica, well, Acumatica in particular, has this capability now. So you can see from this simple dashboard, this production and manager dashboard, that you've got what they call these widgets. So it's the data is already there. The part where AI comes in is you get a little chat box down here, and you can just ask it questions on the hoof, or you can get it to almost create some more of these widgets for you, so you don't need kind of techie people to go and do it as well. But the key to this is having your data there in the first place for AI to look at, because remember, AI for manufacturing is looking in, where most things look outwards. Okay, that's the key. And you can see from what Frank was saying that down here on my left hand side, I've got absolutely everything. So it is one system. So it's not a finance system bolted onto a manufacturing system, bolting onto a shipping system, which always goes wrong. And you can never get the data, and you can never rely on it. This is one system. Okay, so you can see you got your sales, your purchases, banking, projects, CRM down there as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is start on the kind of bills of material, because this is your foundation for pretty much everything that you want to build. And then I'll move on to a production order, and if I've got time, some kind of CRM. So I'm just going to nip into this one here and just have a look at some bills of material. And again, it's nice and clean. People will, if it's clean, if it's easy to use, they'll use it. If it's complicated or unfriendly, people won't use it. It's the same in anything, not just software. You can move these columns around, you can do as you please, you can scroll through, you can search. It's all there at your fingertips. So I'm just going to have a look at this one here. So what we got is a bill of material here with a revision, and I'm going to make this MG base unit. Okay, so I'm just going to drill into this. This is one of the features. You don't have to keep coming out to going in and keep coming out to going in. So this is where you start to set up the data that AI is going to look at and give you some meaningful data. Okay, so this is what we're making, this MG base unit here. This is the BOM ID, and I've just got a second revision here. And you can also put start and end dates on. So this screen is then subdivided into two parts. This is your routines or your routines. This is what happens in the factory. And this is just a small example. If you got, say, 40 or 50 operations, that's not a problem. I've just got 3 here, and they're going through 3 work centers as well. Now, you can drill into these work centers because it's a hyperlink. So you can set things up on here like calendars or costings, or even alternative routines as well. So for instance, you could say to AI, work center 40 is down, give me an alternative. And because the data is in here, it can figure it out. So I'm just going to click into this pretty quickly, and you can see I've got some substitutes. So if I've got a substitute work center in there, AI would give you, say, yep, you can use that alternative one as well. So I'm running out of battery on my thing, I should be okay. So what you've also got is some setup time. So this is the kind of the setup time for your work centers, which again feeds into AI. You've also got run units on runtime. So this is telling you in 1 hour, I can produce 10 through this work center. For this one, the form, I can only produce 5. So again, AI can look at this and say, if you want to create, say, 25, how long is it going to take me? Because it's looking at this data here. And you can do that on runtime, or you can do it on machine times as well, slightly different. But you can also put things in like queuing time or finish time, or even moving time. So somebody may have to physically pick the item up, take it from the cutting and put it onto the form machine or the form bench or whatever. Okay. Now, what goes with these as well is that you can have labor reported at each and every one of these. So you can start to pick up your costings as well, which I'll come back to in a little while. But underneath, you've got what's being consumed. So on this work center here, 40, operation 10, you can see these two items are being consumed. There's the quantities, but more importantly, here is the costings. So it's no good saying, well, how much does this cost me to make, unless you have the costings. You can run average, you can run FIFO, you can run standard costing, and these will be sucked in here as well. So if I run down to here on the form, you can see I've got a drip tray and a flathead screw, 1s and 3s, and there's my costs. And the costs go up to make the final item, which is this. And if you come up here very quickly, you can have a look at the summary. You can calculate the BOM cost very quickly. I'm just going to run through this. So you can see you've got some labor that's coming off here. You've got some variable labor. This is kind of just ad hoc. You've got some overheads that are coming from this tab here, and the machine costs. So you can really quickly see that that's going to cost you to make one of these. It's going to cost $59.75. Now, the beauty of AI is you can just say to it, how much does this cost to make? And it'll give it you, but it won't give it you until it's in here. Okay, very, very simple to do. So that's your bill of material very quickly. So I'm just going to go to my other tab and show you a production order, work order, same kind of thing. And again, this is where AI can start to help you. So you can see through here, this is a released one, okay? This is a finished one. But if I just go back to all of these, you can see I've got all the different statuses down here. So you could say to AI, give me all the ones that are planned, or give me all the ones that are in process. Okay, you can use a filter and screen them off, but sometimes you just want to know what's going on. So I'm just going to go down to the end and find a closed one, which I think is this guy here. And again, this is where AI is going to come in and help you out. Okay, so you can see here that I've got a totals line. I'm just going to skip to that at the moment. So when you start your production order, which is based on your bill of material, remember, this is what it thinks it's going to do to create that price that I've just showed you, that 59 bucks. You've got some labor time, you've got some material time, some tooling time as well. Remember at the beginning, I spoke about those hidden costs of the $100 million company that thinks it's making 10 million bucks, but it's only making 6. That's because they forgot all about their tooling charges, okay? Because it was hidden on another system, a purchasing system that was not connected. So this is giving you good stuff. The reason I've chosen a closed production order is that you can see here, this is what was planned to be made, and this is what, when we finished, what was actually done. So this is great, the labor, 21 hours, 21 hours, perfect. Machine time, great. But look at the materials. What's going on here? I thought I was going to use 3250, but I've used 3050, and I've got a variance. Now this you can put on those dashboards I showed you, but you can also ask AI very quickly, what production orders in process or closed, when it's in process, you really want to get a handle on these, that are under or over my expected planned costs. And the idea of that is you can very quickly catch things before they go wrong. Because if you've got, I don't know, 20, 30 production orders on the shop floor, they're all going through, the guys are making them, great, they're going out the door. You don't know until it's probably too late if you've gone over production time on materials or labor or anything else. And the idea of this is to get AI looking at it to say, you need to go and do something about this. Okay, now it could be a legitimate thing that's going wrong. Okay, so for instance, you may be putting some fluids in a tank and it gets spilled on the floor, so you put some more in there. That's fine. But if you put the right codes onto these as well to say, you know, it was a bit of scrappage or it was a spillage, then again, AI can interpret those in a more useful way. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of skip quickly over these. We can always return to these in more detail at another time. But the last thing I wanted to show you very quickly, I'm just going to go up to another tab. And you can see my stock unit here, my MG base. And I'm going to go to my inventory planning tab, and you can start to see I can put things like safety stock, reorder points, okay, maximum or minimum order quantities. Okay, these are a bit of ridiculous numbers I've just pushed in, but you can start then. If your inventory is correct, then MRP can run and AI can run on the top of it as well, okay? Because the other thing you might want to consider is if you're purchasing a lot of raw materials and they're going up and down, it might be better to buy some materials in the summer rather than the winter. So for instance, fuel, buy it when it's cheap, except when it's expensive. And that's the kind of thing you can use AI for, okay? Then all of these fit into standard MRP. So you run MRP, and it's going to take all your stock, it's going to take your purchase orders, your sales orders, your production orders. You can see them all down here. And then it's going to suggest what you need to do, okay? That's the beauty of all these connected systems. Now, at the moment, you've got what's called inventory planning, which is MRP, really. So this is giving you a nice display, you can filter it, you can do what you want. But how much better if you can just type into an assistant to say, tell me what I need to buy tomorrow, okay? Or tell me what I'm about to run out in. Because you can put production orders out there, you can put purchase orders out there, but ultimately you want to make sure that your customer gets what he wants and you produce it for the right price, not for a price that's going to cost you more, okay? Price and COGS, always a thing to remember. So AI will help you. It won't do it for you, but it will help you. But the key is good bills of material, good production orders, and good planning as well. And then it will all come together. Okay. Zach, do you want to dive into these questions? Because I think we're kind of running a bit late.
Absolutely. And thank you, Tony, for that. Let me take back control of the screen. All right. Just confirm the presentation is still up.
Yeah, it is. My screen's up unless
I see live demo.
Yep, slides back on now, Zach.
Lovely. Thank you both. All right. So with that, we did have a couple questions from the audience here, and I know we're running short on time, so we can go a little quickly on this. Frank, this one's for you. One person was looking for more information on how the licensing is different than concurrent licenses.
Yeah, so with concurrent licenses, if you buy 5 licenses, you can have up to 5 people logged in at the same time. With Acumatica, you have unlimited licenses, so you can give every single person a license. They can all log in and work, and you can restrict it, like what they can do based on their function. And you can even give, like I said, external people access. So if you have a major customer who wants to know where their orders are all the time, you could even give them a login and just restrict it so they can only see the status of their orders, and they can just log in and check.
Yeah,
so
that's a good one. Somebody asked me this. Somebody asked me this the other day, Frank, and I said, just thinking of it like in your lounge with your TV. If you've got a nice 75-inch TV watching the NFL, anybody can come and watch it. With the old systems, you're restricted to 3 people or 4 people.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, if you are interested in learning how Acumatica does their pricing, it's a consumption-based model. So they're going to look at a bunch of different document types and see what your average monthly consumption is. And if you want more detail on that, you can go on to just Google Acumatica pricing, Acumatica licensing information, and there's a link for 2025, and you can see how the structure works, or reach out to me and I can run you through it.
Perfect. That sounds good with me. Thank you for that. I know we are on time, and I think that's good transition. Really quickly, just wanted to go off what Frank said as well. We do have a special offer for everyone who went to this webinar, a complimentary manufacturing finance workshop. This would be a great way to talk with Frank and Tony. I really understand, what exactly are your current issues with Cloud ERP? What do you want to explore with AI? And sort of go over where what we talked about today can sort of fill in the gaps and grow your business. Feel free to use the QR code down at the bottom or reach out to marketing team at tomorrowsoffice.com. We'd be more than happy to set some time for you. And with that, thank you everyone for joining. We really appreciate your time. Frank and Tony, thank you both as well. Really appreciate it. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to reach out. The deck and the recording will be sent out later today.
Yeah, and I just wanted to correct myself. It's Google the Acumatica licensing guide, and all the information on how that works is right there for you. It's all public and transparent.
Great.
Wonderful. Well, thank you everyone. We hope you have a great rest of your day.
All right,
Cheers, Zach.
thank you.
Bye.
Bye.